Bobby.
There we go.
We're good. One going. Can we hear it? Well, I can't hear. Why can't I hear
Hello.
it?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Pardon me? Bob, can you hear me?
I can, Ed, yes.
Okay, can you hear us?
I'm here.
You can hear us? Good.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Think we can hear you?
I can hear everybody.
Oh, good. Okay, we're good.
Ed, are you okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. You might have to speak up though.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so we'll call this to order. What, 9:36 or something?
34.
Okay, and is there any additions to the agenda?
I don't have any.
I don't have any.
Okay. So we'll go into previous minutes here.
April 17th.
Yeah. April 17th meeting. Aaron, on that. On my report there. So 8.3.
Okay.
The Water Commission received funding to start the line from Donalda to Rosalind
Yeah.
D.
Oh, there's supposed to be D? Yeah, Rosalind.
Rosalind, and then also on the third or the second new office idea.
Okay.
So the downdraft heating and furnace can freeze up the sewer line, and then after line, just comma with condensate.
With or with?
With condensate.
Okay.
And then at the then we got there, you can treat the condensation or condensate with limestone into a tank, and then it will pump out to the sewer tank in a large portion
Okay.
instead of freezing in a trickle.
Okay.
And if that's not installed on the furnace in the building, we can have it done.
Yeah.
And then on 0.9, just for information, no changes on Melissa's report. It said administration and public works are assessing some municipal reserve issues, and it was just a reminder of anything that is going to happen. We should make sure that the neighborhood knows what's going on, unless it's something of an individual, but, you know.
Yeah, and that I think in this point was in relation to some of those pictures of those buildings we found on
Right.
municipal reserve that we gotta deal with, so.
Yeah, okay. So is there any concerns from you, folks, Ed and Bob?
No, I was fine.
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so we need adoption of the regular meeting
As amended, yeah.
as amended.
I will make that motion.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, Melissa, whether you can today.
Okay.
I think Ed made the motion on the new subdivision. Was that the meeting? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so on 7.3
The April 29th minutes?
No,
of the
so we went
April,
Buffalo Ranch Estates phase 3.
Yeah,
Oh, so we're going back to last minutes, great.
yes,
Okay.
so since these minutes are now passed,
Mhm.
could you forward the minutes to Craig
Oh,
Maynard
yes.
today?
Yes,
Let's see how we can. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
And I'll talk to him later,
Yes.
he's been, he
Okay.
wants to get going, but he needs something in writing that it's been approved. in
Yes, that's-
Principle.
yeah, I've been checking on that, so I will get the minutes forwarded to him and then we'll figure out the rest of it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Okay. So then we had the minutes from the special council meeting, and that was basically, to do with the,
audited financial statement.
yeah. The auditors, so there's nothing in there that,
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the special council meeting on the financials
That's presented,
as presented.
okay.
okay, thank you, all in favor?
Yes,
Okay, so now we go to, there's no public hearing. So in the delegations, the Fall Society is gonna come
In June.
in June.
Yeah.
June meeting, which will be,
19th.
we're changing it,
Oh,
actually, so,
Oh, okay.
I'll get it figured out once you guys make a resolution on that.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so, Stan, did you wanna give us your report, please?
Yeah, so basically. I've been asked to head up the beautifying committee, which is just planting trees and white sands. So last year, I think we did 30 trees we put in. And the budget last year was $5,000 for the trees. I've contacted Echo Glen, because that's who I went to last year, and got some pricing on trees again. But I kind of need to know what the budget is, so I know how many trees that we can order and where we can place them. So I'm here to find out what the budget would be for planting trees this spring.
so I was reading that we're getting a beautification grant, aren't we?
We tried. We applied for one. With Fortis for 2,500. And unfortunately, we're out of their service areas, so we're gonna
Oh.
continue,
Oh, okay, that's fine.
but we're gonna continue looking for those kind of grants, yes.
Okay, so, I guess the, one concern that was brought up was the budget is rather tight this year. And also there was some, thoughts towards the weather, which everybody is concerned about the drought. And to them were a couple of things that were brought up, but is there any, so in the revision of the budget, was there?
We put some in for, we're calling it vegetation management in the grants, and we haven't got everything approved yet. Yeah, and then like I said, we're still trying to seek out other beautification grants, because there are grants out there with different private organizations, like co-ops and all that. So we're trying to see if we can source some other funds.
Okay, so if the amount was given to Stan or whatever, and let's say a grant came along after. Does the grant have to be dated when it's approved?
That all depends on the grants you apply and their conditions. So I can't give you an answer directly on that, because each grant that you can apply for is different. Usually, if you start something previous, like our regular grants, if we start previous, the stuff we do first usually won't be accepted.
So Stan, sort of ballpark, how much like per tree would you say? Like we did 30 grants or 30 trees last year. So
Yeah,
what
so-
are you talking, a couple $100 a tree sort of thing?
Yeah, so I was looking at kind of what you guys did last year, so I kind of ballparked it like at $5,000 again. And that would get us about 28 trees, sort of thing, and I'm looking at a couple of different types of trees for the village. Something a little different than we've got already. So I'm looking at some linden trees and some golden weeping willow trees to put in. So there would be, and I'm trying to get the biggest trees I can, so that they have a better chance of survival. So there are 15-gallon trees and they're about $200 a tree, but we get a 15% discount off for the village. And so if I ordered 28 trees, it just comes under the budget of under the 5,000 mark with the caps.
So where do you think we need the trees the most, Stan? Where?
Well, there's lots of places in the village, but for these trees, just outside of Cheryl and Mark's place, all down the road there, and Rick Corinne's place, all down the road there, is where I'd put those trees all along that main road down there.
Okay,
So, and that road gets traveled by everybody all the time.
okay.
We had discussed it. I think we discussed, Stan, too, at the end of Front Street down there at around the turnaround, that we wanted to put some down there too, because it's pretty bare
Yeah.
down there, and they're out of
Yeah.
the way. They'd be easy to mow around, and that was
So
another
it-
place that I think that we
Yeah,
looked
with the
at.
budget, like I looked around, there's lots of places you put trees, but you know, put them wherever we want to put in all the different spots. I mean, you're looking at $30,000, which is way over the budget. So I just had to look and think where the best place was for this year, and then regroup again for next year and try to get more trees in other spots.
So
So-
ultimately, we're talking like a 5 to 10 year plan type thing. Is what we're looking at, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, I don't know whether we need to plan on trees all the time, Bob. Lauren, I think, trees are just one way to set a beautification system up in that village. I mean, we can talk hedges, flowers, flower beds, all that kind of stuff. We don't have to
yeah,
stick with trees every year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ed, but I'm just saying, this is a long-term plan. We obviously can't do $30,000 in 1 year, so we have to plan this out over 5 to 10 years
absolutely.
type thing, right?
No,
Right.
absolutely not.
Well, I think it's a good thing to be looking at doing.
Well, I've talked to different communities. I had a chat with one of the counselors from the city of Airdrie, and he'd come up to spend 2 weeks last year. And I had a good chat with him, and he was appalled that we didn't have any flowering fruit trees or anything like that in our village at all. And I said, well, we're trying to go that direction.
So Melissa, do you think is there any room in the budget for us to do some of this?
You still have $2,000 that you allocated out of reserves, which hasn't been used yet.
And we got the money for part of our summer students got paid for and things like that, right? So there should be, or was that part of the budget?
That's all part of budget.
And that's $6,000.
Yeah, that's all part of budget. You have 2,000 extra that you pulled from reserves.
But we can pull a bit out of reserves to do this too, right?
If you wish, then you would have to do that in a resolution, correct? How much you're gonna pull from reserves. And that it's coming from reserves and it's an unallocated budget number.
Yeah, there's that certainly is that choice, and you could actually leave that 2,000 the way it is. I mean, sometimes things come up that we have to use reserves.
We've got the roof. Just so you know, the hall roof.
Yeah,
It's gonna come from reserves once I get a quote on how that is.
and repair for the drywall in that kitchen.
Yep. So that was unbudgeted because we weren't expecting that.
Ed, did you know about that? That the kitchen roof, the ceiling was leaking?
Yeah, I probably heard about it 10 minutes after it started.
Yeah, as soon as the cards were over, I went down there, but. The roof has to be repaired first, so that is another budget item, and I think not on budget, of course, but. There's that, and then the drywall inside has to be replaced, a portion of it. And we don't have the quote on that yet. But I think what is kind of pressing here is like Stan is has to have some kind of direction because of its planting season, as well as supply and getting them in the ground if we're going to do it this year.
Well, it was my understanding that $5,000 was already set aside in our budget for this. I thought we had this discussion earlier, and I don't know why it's not there in our tree planting portion of the budget. I thought we allocated $5,000 for this.
We had it in under vegetation management in the grants.
I think it got moved, Ed, if I recall right. It was a separate item, and then it went into that beautification part of the budget.
Vegetation management.
So how much is allocated? I can't recall right now for vegetation management.
Just try to go through it here. 1 second. We still have 2,600 from the Memorial Park. Vegetation management, 7,000.
And so what are we gonna use that for exactly?
It's got trees, equipment, water, upkeep. That's all in there.
So would that be like that other part with all the trees that have to be removed?
Yep. Everything. So how much do you want to take out of that?
Well, the stuff for Memorial Park, like it could use a couple trees in there for sure. Like that could be definitely that 2,500.
Yeah, that's what you had last year. We didn't put anything in for this year, so we put it all under vegetation management of 7,000.
So your Memorial Park, did you just plant a grass in there? I looked at that area.
Yeah.
It's better to wait another year, get that grass so it's solid before you
Yes,
start putting equipment in there and digging holes. So I was thinking of next year, be putting in some nice fruit trees in there, but. Cause this year it's one of the spots.
Well, I
And
really think we
here's-
have to allocate some money to this.
so how much do you want to allocate to it? It's up to you guys.
Well, Stan's asking for 5,000, and that's what we did last year. And I thought that's what was in the budget. That was set in the budget to begin with.
We have 7. For everything. So it's up to you guys.
So we've got 2,000 extra in the budget and then 7,000 in the management. So if we did say $4,000, that still leaves us $5,000 for vegetation management, right?
Yep,
So why don't we go $4,000 this year, and then we'll just really look at it carefully and put more money into it next year.
Will that
And
work for
maybe-
you? Will that work for you, Stan?
Yeah, I'll just adjust the amount of trees that we're gonna bring in.
A few less trees,
Justin.
but And we'll
Yeah.
we'll try and give you more money next year, Stan, you know?
Yeah, that's fine. So I can adjust it to the budget to whatever you guys want, so.
Okay, we need a motion for that,
I'll make it.
Ed,
That we allocate $4,000 towards tree planting this year.
Yep, and 2,000 is from the,
Memorial.
Memorial from the vegetation management and 2,000 from the excess
And-
budget money.
2,000 from the vegetation management. Get that?
Trying to say, so $4,000 is being
A
allocated.
total of $4,000 is being allocated to Stan and Tish Holidays Beautification Committee. And 2,000 of the funds is coming from the unrestricted reserve that was already in the budget, and 2,000 from vegetation management that was in the capital budget.
And moved by council have to. Hold on. Allocate the total of $4,000. To Stan and Tish Holiday Beautification Committee. $2,000 of the funds is coming from the unrestricted reserve and $2,000 from the vegetation management. That was in the capital budget.
Correct.
Does that sound right?
All in favor?
Yes?
Yeah.
And thanks for
Yeah.
doing this, Stan. We want to thank you for doing this. It's certainly an important project in our village.
No problem. Once I get the adjustment, I'll verify the price with where I'm ordering them, and then I'll send you guys an email exactly the total amount and what we're getting.
Yes.
All right?
Thank you, Stan.
Thanks, Dan.
And maybe Stan, if you could,
Can you include in that?
yeah, map where
Yeah.
they're going.
Yeah, I've got it mapped already.
We get asked.
Perfect.
Had it been 5,000, I would give it to you right now. I don't need to make a little adjustment.
Okay,
So-
okay,
Yeah,
thanks very much.
okay. You guys have a good evening. You too.
Okay, Stephanie,
Yes. This one is good.
Hello, Steph.
So maybe I'm a little bit early in the agenda, because I know stormwater management plan is later, as well as budget is later.
yeah, the stormwater management plan actually was presented to council
Earlier in the year.
earlier, like this is the second copy.
Yeah, I watched it, you know, it's presented. So I guess what I wanna know is a couple things. So I saw that the approval for the 10-year pump license was done, so that's
Mhm.
really good, that takes away some risk for sure. And on the stormwater management plan, it's not really clear what the direction is there, so maybe you could put an inlet into the Third Street pond. And then it would go over to what they're calling the third pond. And then possibly infill. But there's no like direction there yet. So if it's gonna be infilled, then a retaining wall would not even happen.
What the stormwater management plan that we got from the engineering company is something that's gonna take quite a while to
Yeah.
implement because of the
Budgets, yeah.
budgets as well. And also the documentation that came with the plan is not in any specific order. It depends on what he's doing. And there could be precedents over that. Like what the government wants is for us to get all the water into the lake.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. And if this was, let's say, this is just a little bit of history, if this was White Sands was being done now, it would have been more than likely included with the development that went on in subdivisions.
Yeah.
But of course, the whole thing is being built and now it's an expensive deal to fix. So basically that's our this is a plan that's going to be worked at. But there's also down the road, like if the lake comes up, then there's also a piece of front street about 1,000 feet there that is the lake that's been eaten away at the MR and is getting close within 20-25 feet of private property.
Yeah.
So that's also depending on what Mother Nature does. As far as the pond on 3rd Street, there is a road that's surveyed through there. As you know, it kind of takes a turn, you're like said, a little angle. So if that 3rd Street was to be put through, then that would change things as well.
Yeah, but you'd also be required wetland compensation payment if you do anything there.
Yeah. So it's kind of an unknown
I know.
what we're gonna be doing with the
Yeah.
things. And as far as clear answer, when is that gonna be the first project? It's hard to say whether it would be or not at this point.
Mhm.
Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, your 5-year capital plan is just because we have to meet the guidelines and now with all these projects, we had to lay things out.
Mhm.
And can it be changed? Yes, it can. Can projects be moved forward? Yes, they can. It's in your purview to make those changes annually based on your budgets and the grants.
I would think priority as well, like at First Street, or you would just say Front Street? Then that would be, there's definitely priority that is not put into the 5-year budget, it's just slotted in there. So when you go through each one, it lays out what is a risk and what isn't. So.
I guess right now, and it was an unfortunate piece to that, that line came off. But there has been some thought of putting a culvert across underneath the driveway on the road allowance. And then taking that same pipe that black pipe that's behind there and fusing onto it and putting it through the culvert so that there would be no chance of any separation of that line.
Yeah, that
So-
really sucked.
It would go back into the pond,
Yeah.
because that's where the pump would be. I mean, that's something that is definitely,
We're looking at all options, but at this point, the biggest part of the projects are listed in here, and these are all things that need to be looked at in other ways.
and I know that Stephanie needs and her husband need a,
Yeah, we need to finish landscaping, we need to replace that retaining wall, because every year it just pushes further and further. And that's where the foundation is, right? We're 4 feet from our foundation, which is not good when the dirt's pulling away from there. So the option of putting in a concrete retaining wall, which was our plan, is not really viable if it's gonna be replaced or filled in 2 years from now, or 3 years from now, or 4 years from now. There's no point in that expense. So if the plan is to maybe do a road, then would we just fill to our lot line and not put a retaining wall in? Where would we start a slope? What would we do there? That's why we can't do anything, it's a
And
major
it's-
cost.
At this point in the 5-year plan, that road has not even been looked at. So I don't know what council, is that part of the plan? You want to look at extending that roadway Because then we gotta get the engineering and stuff to figure out.
I would definitely not.
That's
let
it.
them road.
Melissa, is our 5-year plan, does it include filling that slough in completely?
No,
I don't know what the 105,
the
like,
report,
it wasn't clear on what that 105 was for, the cost for that was laid out at 104, but it doesn't say what it is. It just says possibly could use the fill from pond 3.
pond 3, pond 4. Pond 3 currently overflows its lot into the neighboring lots. Pond 4 is within private lots and a road right of way. The proposed solution for both ponds would be to reconstruct pond 3 completely within the lot boundaries, along with a controlled outlet. The storm pipe should be constructed from pond 4 to drain this area into the reconstructed pond 3. Regrading of this area to eliminate the trapped low area may be required. If desired, the material from the storm pond could be used to partially infill pond 4 and connect 3rd Street to Buffalo Road. This would be subject to regulatory approval, and any reduction in size may require wetland compensation payment if approved. So you guys haven't really thought about this whole report yet, but all the project information is in your capital plan. So the reconstructed pond 3 would be constructed to the AEP standards to allow for storage of the 1 in 100-year storm event. The outlet would be directionally drilled through the PUL, which is your public utility lot, to the Buffalo Lake above the lake high water level. The outlet flow rate would be restricted to provide water treatment to enhance water quality over a 24-hour period. That's what's in the report.
So Melissa, our next step basically is what you're saying is we have to decide what we want to do with that to help Steph out.
I think, like, for me, all I need to know is really what, if there's no road going through there, then should I fill to my lot line? And then the slope in the report is 5 to 1, 4 to 1. Do I even need a building permit if I'm landscaping and sloping? And where would that slope start? So that in the future, money.
That's the question I'm asking, Steph. Do we have to make that decision now? And if we have to make that decision now, is that the next step into this whole process? And if that is the decision or that's the next step, why didn't we do this a long time ago?
Oh, like 2 summers ago? Yeah. And I'm okay with doing our portion of it and the slope. I just need to know where we need to start that slope. So if you say maybe there's gonna be a road, maybe not, start the slope on your lot line and then slope it into the village property? Or do I like?
No, I understand where you're coming from.
Money. Yeah.
I guess, I don't know, I really don't think we've ever thought of putting a road, extending the road there, but.
I don't
guess-
think anybody wants a road there in the
Pardon?
future and still need that low area. You're gonna need that because the water, like when you look on the maps, the water maps that they provided, that is like the lowest of the low area.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want road in there. We just need to fix that retaining wall. And I'm not gonna put blocks in if 3 years from now, that's gonna get ripped out. It's a total waste of money.
Lauren, was there any information given to us from the fire marshal indicating that that road should go straight through?
No, it's been talked about for years, but you would run into. There hasn't been anything except access to turn the truck around at the end. That was mentioned when we did that tour for the parking, but nothing formally yet. Yeah, I
What
mean,
takes
it's-
precedence, fire or environment?
My husband's a firefighter, so he's in guard at the end of the road.
Sorry, what? Sorry, could you repeat that?
Well, I can tell you that 2 years ago, when they did the wetland loss, with the risk of that wetland was about 25 grand.
Yep,
If you filled that all in.
yep.
So that's a lot of money that doesn't need to be spent, plus building the road.
Yeah,
Huge cost to think about, and it hasn't been thought about.
But that's probably changed in the last 2 years, that 25 grand as well.
oh yeah, it'd be huge difference, right?
We're losing an amazing wetland. We don't wanna lose that, I don't wanna lose that, and it's so low there, I think it would cause issues in the future if we did lose that.
I
I
think, I think
I
that,
do need
I think
I
filling
will.
that pond in and putting a road through there would create more of a flood issue for you, wouldn't it?
I agree, yeah.
Well, it definitely would. Uh,
So I don't know, I guess my thought on this, Steph, is, I mean, I certainly don't think extending the road unless there's some absolute necessity to do it from a safety standpoint, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think we have any plan on that. I guess, you know, part of the problem with this whole stormwater management plan we have is that it's running into millions of dollars. It's sort of aspirational, but it's not necessarily. We're obviously gonna have to get serious grant money to do anything in that area long term. So I guess my thought is that, you know, if you're going to do some landscaping in that area, I don't see why you shouldn't, you know?
Oh, I totally agree with you, Bob. She should be able to protect her own property by putting in the required retaining that was mentioned a long time ago.
So what we need to move forward with that is, does our landscaping end at our lot line and the slope goes into that reserve or whatever it is? Like where is the cutoff? And then the other thing that needs to be done is the wetland classification that needs to be done either way, whether you're doing the work or I'm doing the work, whether there's a future inlet, that still has not been done. And that was something Dean said when he was here, 2022, I think, that the village was gonna do that. So that still isn't done. So we don't even know what the real risk is of filling any of that in. Like how much that would cost. And for us, if it's on private property, then we, to fill it in, would pay for the loss of our area of wetland. But we don't know what that value is till the classification's done. And that was already passed in 2022, I believe. We went back through the meeting minutes, but it hasn't been done yet.
It's been a long.
The village did the desktop assessment, you paid for that.
Yeah, desktop assessment's done,
Yeah,
but the wetland classification is not done.
that's based on that desktop assessment.
No, it's not. You can read through the notes. So it needs to be classified between A and D. And that's done by Aptus.
It's up to you guys, but you're gonna have to pull from reserves if you guys decide.
Well, you
to do
still
it.
had, I don't know what it was for. But in the budget, you still had $40,000 for a stormwater plan. In the budget.
That's to cover this report.
Oh, this was done last year.
No, this is to cover this huge report. That's what this is about. That's this whole report now that covers off all of the projects that need to be done and how to create the plan. And it's where we got the 5-year plan of all the stormwater management things that need to be completed within the village to take care of the drainage issues around the community.
Okay, this was like, we can go back, but this was 2022 when Dean was here.
And in here.
And this wetland has to be done either way, whether a year from now you put that inlet in, it still has to be done. As soon as anything gets planned for that, it needs to be done.
Can we use grant money for this, Melissa?
Not for private, no.
It isn't private, it's public.
No,
Do the study on a portion of it.
The property line goes right through the middle of the pond there, doesn't it? So a big portion of the pond is municipal land, right?
Yeah, like,
Probably.
percent of it.
I would say almost 3/4 of it is.
Yeah, that's what
is
I was
public.
thinking. That was my thought, Ed, too.
So according to the report that you guys have here, so 3.6.5 Pond 4, Third Street Pond. Pond 4 is located at south end of Third Street with lots 1 and 47 of Plan 4117 MC Block 3 and the road allowance for Third Street. The pond currently has no outlet and builds up until it overflows into the surrounding roadway and lots. Administration has stated the landowner of Lot 1 has brought forward concerns over this pond and the lack of an outlet. Additionally, the pond has been identified through a desktop assessment by EXP Services as a wetland of at least Class D.
No, just go to your solution, the conclusion, the plans for each one, and that's where it tells you that it needs to be done.
So that's in your report at 3.6.5. Then if we go back over to 6.1.3, and that's where I've read from Pond 3 and Pond 4, which is the connecting Third Street to Buffalo Road. Pond 3 currently overflows its lots into the neighboring lots. Pond 4 is within private lots and a road right of way. The proposed solution for both ponds would be to reconstruct Pond 3 completely within the lot boundaries along with a controlled outlet. A storm pipe should be constructed from Pond 4 to drain this area into the reconstructed Pond 3. Pond 3 is in the municipal reserve. Regrading of this area to eliminate the trapped low area may be required. If desired, the material from the storm pond could be used to partially infill Pond 4 and connect Third Street to Buffalo Road. That's if you built the road. This would be subject to regulatory approval, and any reduction in size may require wetland compensation payment if approved. The reconstructed Pond 3 would be constructed to the AEP standards to allow for storage of the 1 in 100 year storm event. The outlet would be directionally drilled through the PUL to Buffalo Lakes. So basically what the report is stating is that what you're going to do is direct Pond 4 over to Pond 3 through an outlet and then an outlet out to the lake is what they were stating to reduce some of the issues.
So down 4th Street beach access. And then where that pond 3 is, and that have to be excavated out of there in the MR.
That's one option. They only gave you one option there. A very expensive option. The other option would be to run it right from Third to the lake as well, right from Third Street Pond to the lake as well. But you do have the pumping license for another 10 years, so you can continue pumping. Just if there's a heavy rainfall on a Saturday or Sunday, we may land in some trouble there.
I think the issue they ran into is trying to run the Third Street Pond directly down to the lake would be a bit difficult because of all the housing and the roadways.
Yeah, we all realize that that's gonna be a huge cost going from one pond to the other. You know, I brought it up many times, you know, even a couple of years ago. Why don't we just pump it out there and spray it on our roads and our MR? That's a cheap way of doing it.
Well, at
With
this
our own
point,
truck.
your pumping license is still good for 10 years. And so until you do any construction to rectify these situations, the pumping will continue.
So
But,
what's
yeah.
the matter with pumping it? What's the matter with pumping it out with our own truck and pumping it onto our MR in different places in our gravel roads for dust
Yeah,
control?
no, it's nice big trees. Good watering, yep.
That might not work with the license we have. I don't know. I'd have to double check on that.
And the other thing is that one time it was pumped out by tankers. It's a long time ago when it was done. And then Buffalo Road was compromised really bad, so they had to fix the road.
Because the
after that.
tankers were so heavy.
Yeah,
I think that's why you did the pumping license, the way you did.
yeah.
So your
I mean,
big
we do
issue
it
here,
ourselves, it's
Steph,
not-
let me just to clarify, is your issue is if you slope or do any work on your property into the pond, what's your liability? Sort of, that's your issue. Is that, am I reading you right or not?
Well, I don't think liabilities, though, I think that was an issue before, when the pumping license wasn't gonna get renewed, that was really a big concern for me. Cause it's Brian that floods, so I wanted to make sure that pumping license was done. So no liability now, it's just, where do we start and stop? Our
Are you allowed to
landscape-
do it? So your question is, are you allowed to do it, basically, right?
Yeah, and where am I stopping? What's the rules on, I don't think anybody's ran into this before. Do we stop at the edge of our lot line and then slope into municipal property?
Well, I don't know if that would fly, because then it would take away of the storage in the pond, right?
That's why that. pumping
Melissa,
license-
is that, Melissa, is that a question for council to decide?
No. Whatever the property owner has, the development permit and an extension to the development permit, that has been approved.
But we're not
And there's-
doing that anymore.
There's conditions based on that. And whatever you do within your property is within your property.
So is landscaping a building permit? Is that bill a building permit?
Site works. Site works.
So what does that entail?
Site works is any landscaping work you do, that's considered site works.
It's over, it's a certain grade that's in,
Yeah, it's all on the bylaw. Yeah.
off the top of my head, Stephanie, what the grade.
That would probably be more of a question to the development officer, so you could give, email Leanne and ask her about that, cause you do have the extension on the permit. And if you want to amend that permit, that would be a conversation to have with Leanne.
Okay, and what about the classification?
The classification is a D based on the
No,
desktop
it's not a D. So
It's in the report here that it was classified as a D.
at least D. And D is the lowest it can go, so they're just making assumptions. A is the highest value and D is the lowest value.
And that would be providing the desktop assessment, which I have given you a copy of, and getting that into Alberta Environment to say you wanna do changes and there's a pond that's partly in your property, you're only doing your property. So,
So when, but if the village does any work, they also have to do the wetland classification.
yes,
So what I'm asking is for that to be done earlier, it needs to be done anyways.
but unless these guys intend on doing a road or any of that stuff, right?
It sounds like any changes.
Right, but we're not doing any changes at this point, it's in the capital plan. The council, you guys have put it in the capital plan based on this report. But at this point in time, there's no changes happening right now. And we've got the pumping license for the 10 years, so it's in the 5-year capital plan, and we have the 10-year pumping license, so. Something
Then I guess
has to
I'm
be done
asking,
within.
when you review the capital plan, if you move portion of that ahead of other things, is the wetland classification.
That would be up to council.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, there you go, guys, she's asking, are you gonna move it up?
Not the whole project. Just the classification.
Well, I think probably if you're deciding to do some work on your property there, that could possibly change the outcome of the classification, would that not?
Mm-mm.
The classification is a classification D, you have the desktop assessment, so whatever the village decides to do, so if you wanted to go in and change the dynamics of that pond. You will be having to do all the same as what Stephanie has to do, and you're gonna be providing compensation if you change it to a dynamics that they want compensation.
For the, even doing the outlet, you're gonna have to do the classification.
So the way it is right now, if you moved to the edge of your property line with something, then you would have to do it as well. It's gonna be a confusing effort.
Yeah, when we go to do the actual construction project for all the outlets that you're talking about, that's why it's in your 5-year plan. That it's listed and it's $365,000 to do that project. To get the drainage flow properly, so you don't have to rely on the pumping after the 10 years.
Right.
Then the engineers will go through everything that they have to do. Are you probably gonna be changing any of the boundaries of the pond? Highly unlikely if you do it through a boring aspect of it.
You're gonna have to dig into that pond to get any kind of inlet and pipe through there anyways. Plus,
It'll
you're
be-
gonna have to, at that point, protect personal property.
And that would be up to the engineers to get figured out, and then they'd have to decide if we need to do any compensation, so that'll all be done by the engineers. I can't say yes or no, I don't have those answers, that would go to the engineers when you approve the project.
Once you start that project, then at that point, even in here, you need to protect personal property, which is our property. We're the ones, and Brian are the personal property surrounding this. So by me doing this earlier and filling this and sloping this, this is gonna take cost off of your project. Cause what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna have to protect our property, which means you're gonna be doing the slope. And you can't slope, leave a big empty ditch between our property and your property. That's so,
I can't say, I don't have all the answers, I
Well,
can't answer that one for you, I'm going by what the report states and what you guys have approved in your capital budget, but. Council, if you wanna move a project forward, that's a whole new change, I need the direction to bring it back.
Well, I think we should move it forward. So we can get this going and relieve some stress over this stuff. This has been going on a long time.
yeah, the classification was already approved in 2022 when Dean was here.
And then just so you know, you can't use any of the federal grant for stormwater management projects. It has to all come from MSI.
There was waterworks and storm management grants out there.
Yeah, I can look at other grants, but I
Yeah.
can't give a guarantee on right now what the funds they do have in hand. Is what I'm looking at right now. The funds they do have in hand. One of the grant fundings will not cover stormwater management, only MSI or the new, however they call it.
But MSI would cover that.
Yeah, they cover almost anything.
But it's very minimal, like that grant is.
That's right, and then apply for all the other
This
water
is
grants.
just the wetland classification.
The desktop assessment we did complete. I don't know what more to,
Because for
answer
any
that.
compensation needs to be in field, and it says it in your reports, and it says in 2023 and 2022, when we went through this as well. It needs to be classified from A to D. They're just using a minimum. That's all they're giving here on the desktop. And you can call Angela at Alberta Environment. She will tell you exactly that.
So then,
do you want,
what is, like, we don't have any idea what the classification would cost to get done.
I can't answer any of this, can you guys give me some direction, do you want the engineer to double check on the classification? I can have the engineer, but I need that direction from you guys and bring it back, I don't have any answers, and I can't validate, and I can't disvalidate, I can't do any of that. I have the reports here, I only have what's in the reports, if there's further clarification you need, please give the resolution, get further clarification, so we can answer the question.
I might have the in-class meetings in here.
Were the engineers not instructed to give us detailed on what classification that was a long time ago?
You guys in 2022, you guys already approved it. It just
It's
didn't
in the-
happen with Dean.
It's in the report, you have to, your stormwater
No.
management plan report, it's listed in there also.
No. So this one, I don't have the date on it, but it has what the possibilities are. And this is like, this was with Dean when Melissa, you weren't here. So there was like water course compensation, A through D, and you actually have to come and do it with the wetland assessment. And this is from EXP at the time, which has changed to Aptus, right?
Can I see that?
I just didn't print, like, it's been in my files for many meetings now, so I don't have the date on it. But we could go back through 2022, and it was, I joined via Zoom, and we discussed all this with
Okay,
Dean.
yeah, this is the breakdown from that section that she just stated about the compensation. That section in your stormwater management plan here says in 6 point. That one section I read out. This is just breaking down the costs.
It's 2027.
Yes. So here is, right here. In here, it states about the AEP standards. And. Subject to regulatory approval and any reduction in size may require wetland compensation if approved. This is what this is stating.
And
It's
to
a
get to
wetland
that,
compensation.
to get through that A through D, it needs to be an in-field assessment.
So according to, again, the report,
You have to call Aptus and you'll have to call urban requirement, because it is in-field. It is not just desktop. Desktop only says it's, could be at least a D, which means D is a wetland. A is the highest value, D is the lowest value.
I can dig that back up if you guys want to table and have that information brought back at the next meeting, so you can further have a discussion based on that information. I think I know exactly which one that is. Can I see the date on that?
Don't think there is.
You can take a copy. Or I can find it in my minutes.
Yeah.
It'll be in a minute somewhere. Hopefully.
But it needs to, I know 100%, it needs to be in field. So if the next time the engineer is out for the municipal buildings, then they can do that in. At the same time.
So I don't know if you guys want to table and have this information brought with the stormwater management report. And then you can give me direction.
Yeah, I think so. Like right now, I need it sort of all laid out for me.
Me too.
Yeah, it is a big unknown and we don't know. Like, we'll have to figure out costs and what. Maybe it's not a big deal to get the thing assessed. But does it change if there's work gone on
It
it?
doesn't change the value of the wetland, that's based on the existing soil, the existing water and the existing vegetation.
Yes, and anything that happens there, like, so what they wanna do is they want to extend out to their property and they wanna put in the fill and create the slopes. So they can get the drainage off their property and into the pond.
Right, no, I understand
Which-
that.
If they go into the pond by so many feet or whatever they wanna do, then it has compensation.
Yeah, we have to compensate for it.
Same.
Okay, but you'll need that same classification to do the future work of an inlet or whatever you plan to do there. Cause you're then altering the wetland.
So again, I don't have any answers for you. I can't give you guys any answers. This is. I got the reports here. We did the desktop. This compensation part, we do know it's in the report. Any changes you do to that pond, you will have to compensate Alberta Environment.
But we don't know what classification it is, so.
To even know the compensation.
So,
And
so
I-
basically, we need new information. We need all the information laid out for us here and engineer, and table it till the next meeting or whatever, and we need it all laid out with recommendations.
Okay, Yep, that would be the resolution, I would say, is to take the information and direct administration to bring it all back. And have the engineers come and explain, I would recommend the engineers come back and explain this part.
Do they, where?
Let's
they
make
from?
this,
Right
let's make this as user friendly as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it would be easier for you guys to ask your questions of the engineer, because they'll be able to give you your answers.
Yeah, we could have a Zoom
Yeah, they don't need to drive all the way out.
meeting, well, they probably
I'm
want,
sure it's mileage every time. I don't want to cost more mileage.
It's up to them how they want to present. So motion to table,
I think I'd like to, do you want me to present next meeting on what I would like my yard to look like, or what of my, or it's up to you guys? I just wanna know where my yard starts and stops.
whatever you
I'm
want to do.
responsible for paying for my own fill, that's fine. I will pay for our portion of the loss of wetland, cause it's on private property. I just need to know where that slope should start and stop, and what that classification is.
can you
And-
send that information? Sorry, I'm sorry, I apologize for cutting up.
And you-
Can you send that
Yeah.
information to the engineer and then the engineer can tell us? That's okay? Is that the right way to go?
What I would like is Stephanie to put into writing your questions. And you want me to direct it to Aptus based on our reports, and I'll bring all the information that we have done on this pond. And bring it back to council for clarification and discussion, so you can understand it.
Yes, please. I think that's.
because it's really,
That
I-
would not go another year, it's already been 4 years, I would love to get a sidewalk into my property, it would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and certainly, yeah, I know we need to get this dealt with sooner rather than later, but I'm still somewhat like confused, right? Like it's just, I need it laid out and with engineers recommendations to,
Yeah.
and I think we can get that done, you know, fairly soon for you here, Stephanie.
Okay, and if you, I mean, if you're in on the May long weekend, anyone's in, wants to come see it from our side of the property line, you're definitely welcome to.
Yeah, I'll pop down and see you.
So your first motion should be to motion to have Stephanie email her questions.
And her proposal. Proposed,
And your proposal to administration to forward to Atlas Engineering to,
for recommendations on what,
for clarification on pond 3.
Pond 4,
on for,
Pond,
it's confusing because it's Third Street,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's Pond 4.
pond 4 and the wetland presentation to council
yeah,
at the next meeting.
and the other,
You
like,
get that?
Melissa or,
Oh. Okay, well, first motion was, okay, to have Ms. Haynes to email her questions and proposals to administration. To forward to Aptus Engineering so that Aptus Engineering can clarify pond 4 and the wetland presentation at the next council meeting.
Yes, the wetland information.
as well, it should be carbon to, Leanne.
Yeah,
Because it's definitely,
Yeah, I'll go, I have to work today, but tonight I'll look at the, what did you call it?
development permit.
Development permit, that's gonna
Yes.
tell me the landscaping portion of it.
Well, it laid out all the conditions of the development permit.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't have anything to do with the pond at the end of it's just gonna tell me to look after my property, so, but I'll call you if I have questions.
Yeah, the development permit had conditions on it, but I'll make sure that when we build the package for you guys and for Aptus, so they can answer any questions for you, we'll have all that info for you.
Okay, and for pond 4 and wetland information at the next council meeting on June 19, 2024.
Yeah, with Aptus Engineering attending, right? Thank you.
Okay, who wants to move it?
I'll make that
All right.
motion. Or whoever.
Pick one, guys.
Pick one.
Pick Lauren.
Pick Lauren, okay.
Thank you.
All in favor, yeah.
Yes.
And just
Ed, you're
to
in favor?
Thanks, Steph.
Thank you.
footnote to that is, and I really truly think it's important, is to mitigate that problem of that line separating on the way to where it gets pumped now. And it would be a,
I think we've got Justin's reviewing all that stuff, so I think we'll come up with a pretty good plan.
Yeah, I don't think it's been pumped out since 2 summers ago, and that's when we were flooded, and that's finally getting dealt with in June.
well, it's important that that is looked after properly.
Yes.
Not just haywired together, because it's not. A cam lock should have never came off in the first place.
I can't answer back then, but I have made sure the staff are well aware that we must be following proper procedures of maintenance, and we need to be on site when we're doing stuff like this.
Yeah, they were on
They
site,
were on site.
they were just sleeping in the car.
I can't answer that one.
Well, then, cause I woke them up to tell them to shut the pump off. They could set a nice little lawn chair up on the road and watch the pump. Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you for your presentation, Stephanie. We'll try and get this sorted out for you.
Thanks. Can I use the washroom before I?
Yes, it's just around the corner as you're.
Thanks.
Yeah. Run my little nookie thing.
Thank you.
Okay, withdrew out.
I don't have any problem with making 100% sure, but it's gotta be 100% sure that that is not, if something happens, it comes off the pump, it goes back into that. sewer.
Correct, correct.
But, you know, it's serious business.
Well, I know, we have an insurance on it, so don't worry, I'm well aware.
It's really complicated. I mean, I really,
Well, that whole part is, Bob, it is, but it's not complicated to get that existing pump line fixed.
no, I
so
agree, but all this stuff where what's a class D and what's a this and that, like it's
that is-
not in my wheelhouse, right?
No, it's confusing, and then Stephanie also has to know where. I'm sure she can't go past her property line,
Correct.
and so she may have to put some kind of barrier there, or. I don't know, it's very confusing.
Let's leave it for the engineers to provide to you
Yeah,
guys.
let's move on.
Okay. So, fire control bylaw. So what happened was that we got a new regional fire. I don't know if they call him a regional fire chief or
Stettler Regional Fire
That's what.
manager. So when they did the restructuring for the town and the county got back together, so now they have a regional manager that looks after all of them, and there's another deputy chief been hired. So there's actually 4 on staff. There's the manager and then 3 chiefs. Like they include Etchen in that, so they're all together. And our response will come from the authority. We haven't had any meetings or anything. Advisory meetings have been canceled since however long, so the information is not, I'm not able to really give it to you. Other than Leanne or Melissa and myself talked to Mark Dennis and the new fellow Dykstra from
Yes.
the regional chief. So they took our fire bylaw and went through it and did some correction in there because it was brought up about a fire pit that was to be improved, and basically they went through the whole thing. The one issue that I had was, on section 8. It says in there that the fire ban can be called by the CAO. And where we have been at, like that section was always sitting there, but where we were at was we had to rely on Mark Dennis when he was the only fire chief in control. If he put a ban on for the county, it automatically took care of every municipality adjoining in the county. So Roshan Sands, White Sands, Moffat, Gatsby, Denaldo, we're all included. So this section 8 says that our municipality can call its own fire ban. I don't know whether that's gonna ever happen, but I think when we start these advisory meetings again, I think there should be one for South Buffalo Lake. Like a district that would include the county subdivisions, Roshan Sands and White Sands, at least that way.
And just so that everyone's aware, when the county does send out their advisories, we always just post it that we follow.
Yeah,
That's how I've moved it that way, but I have noticed that when you go to the fire ban site, we are
Separate.
not covered, it's separate, so I think further discussions when they bring back the committee would be a good idea of how do we get them to be able to just do us also at the same time, and then we could amend this section 8, but at this point, it is separate. And I don't know how to get that changed within that fire ban site, which I think is a further.
No, Mark in the past just did it on behalf of us. So when Mark was still doing it.
Right, but right now, when you go to fire ban, the communities, and I checked, Roshan's was the same way, we're all still white, so we're not covered under it. So we've just been posting it up every time and following what the county does. So I think better clarity on that moving forward would be happening through that committee.
yeah, and it's important that people should know, like,
Yeah,
so if, let's say Bar W has fires in their fire pits, and it's happened before when it was Paradise Shores, when there was a fire ban on. And then everybody, the residents of Roshan Sands and White Sands were, what the hell's going on? Because they drove right by.
yeah,
So the clarification isn't there, so that's gotta be, and I'm surprised they didn't do anything with that clause, but as far as the rest of what they've done is acceptable when I went over it
yeah.
and answered the questions that were asked of us. So all we need is a motion to accept it, and then we can change that section 8 when it comes time. When we get advisory meetings going again.
Yeah,
So can we have a motion to adopt?
There's
You want-
4 motions, right?
If you wanna do the whole thing right now and get it done, you would have to do your first and second, and then you'll proceed. You're in unanimous consent to go to third. So you'll
Yeah.
have 4 in total if you wanna pass this right away.
So were you comfortable passing it right away, or did you wanna just do 2 readings?
well, I'm happy to do it all right now, and then if we need to make some changes down the line, not a big deal. So I would
Okay.
make a motion to accept the new fire control bylaw as presented,
Okay, so you're approving first reading,
first reading.
okay,
All in favor?
Yes,
I'll do the second.
okay,
All in favor?
yes.
So we need a.
I'll make a motion that we can move to third reading or whatever it is.
Unanimously agree to proceed to 3rd reading of the fire control bylaw.
okay,
I agree.
And last one,
Okay, And third reading, I'll give third reading.
Okay. To accept third and final reading of fire control bylaw 202-24.
Yes.
And Aaron, can we get it on the old website right away?
Oh,
You
sure.
betcha.
Yeah,
That was the plan.
that's what I've been doing when you guys been passing your bylaws and policies, just post it on Facebook and the website.
Okay,
Okay. Could we take a short 2-minute break so I can go to the washroom? Can you try and fix that?
Yeah.
Because I can't hear a thing.
Do the motion, this.
Mayor called a short recess.
Okay.
So people can go get coffee.
I'm gonna go try to fix my sound. Oh, everyone's fine, okay, I don't have a tester. Just. Oh, no, not that one. Stop. Alright, we're back.
But I think we just need to get it clarified.
Nice.
Yes, we don't have that. Oh, man. And then Leanne can answer to the development part of it.
and what's gonna be something to do with the slope.
These the conditions say that she has to have an engineer do it. Everything according to that one.
Yeah, our land use bylaw, there's that section.
So, but we'll get it covered next meeting.
Okay, so we got a tax penalty bylaw and that was picked out by the
Editors.
auditors. Both the The one for the tax rate,
Okay, do you want me to explain
Yeah.
this? Okay.
give us a whirl.
So what we found out during the audit was that, previously, you already had a tax penalty bylaw that was in place. But that bylaw was listed in 2021. Unfortunately, when you did your tax rate bylaw last year, it had added in a penalty. And upped it, but it wasn't in sync with your original tax penalty bylaw that you did have in place. So tax penalties should be kept separate in a separate bylaw. So we are now fixing everything, repealing and putting it current to what you have been doing. So previous to the previous bylaw was at 3% for your first one at the end of July. Then it went to 9% at the end of August. And then you had 12. But last year you guys had did 9 July 31st, 9 August 31st, and then December 31st was 12. So this bylaw that I'm presenting to you guys makes it proper and rescinds your other bylaw 18421 and a previous bylaw 47 we found.
Yeah, so it's just basically housekeeping for the accountant.
Yes,
So we just need a motion to,
all 3 readings again and unanimous consent.
yeah.
Okay, I'll make
So
a
we need
motion to accept the new tax penalty bylaw 203-24 as presented.
All in favor?
First
Yes.
reading, okay.
And we need a second reading. Ed's
Yeah, I'll do
got-
that.
And
Okay.
All
All in
approved.
favor?
Yeah,
then unanimous.
I'll make an emotion that we can go straight to the third reading.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay, all in favor of that? Yes.
Yes,
Okay, now third reading. I'll do third reading.
You'll do third reading, good, alright. That was.
all agree?
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't leave, we gotta print that bylaw off for you to sign.
yeah. All his bylaws are gonna stay after. No,
No, we didn't print this one off yet, we'll do that right away.
okay, so now we got a tax installment payment plan.
yeah, hold on.
So. There was.
Maybe there wasn't.
This is one
Oh, that was in the 47,
yes,
right?
as we're doing the housekeeping, can you get that thing out of the way?
Oh, sorry.
As we are doing housekeeping here, we also found we didn't have a proper tax installment payment bylaw either. So that's another housekeeping thing that we're doing is to make sure everything is clear with how we do our tax installments. And it also lays it out so that it's consistent, that if you miss your payment, then you pay penalties, all those kind of things, right? So this is housekeeping work again to bring us into compliance. So we're looking again to get this properly in place as the housekeeping continues and looking for all 3 readings.
Okay. First reading,
I will make a motion that we approve the new tax installment payment plan 204-24 as presented.
Okay.
all in favor?
Yes,
Second reading? I'll do second reading. All in favor?
yes,
Yeah, this next.
Okay, so now we need a motion to do third.
I'll make a motion that
that.
we can proceed, or Ed's do that.
That's it,
And
okay?
to proceed to third, okay?
Okay,
And third and final reading.
And I will make the motion, the that will do the third reading of the tax installment payment, to approve the third reading of the tax installment payment plan by law.
all in favor?
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
I know, it's lots of bylaws.
No, I'm not, just the tax rate one, that's next.
Okay. The tax rate one, I wanna walk you guys through the tax rate bylaw,
Here, kerfuffle.
because we've had quite the interesting time with this one. So tax rate bylaws first. Okay. So we're trying to get everything into compliance here. So based on your budget approval, you approved your budget at $985,000. So by the time we take the other sources of revenue that we collect $510,793 is other revenue we collect. So the outstanding amount that we needed to raise for general municipal property taxation was $474,402. Okay, so our requisitions for the Alberta School Foundation, so what we had was the residential and farmland, we need to collect 309,432. But last year we collected an over levy, so we must take that off. And then the non-residential was $2,257 with an over levy of $94. So the actual total we needed to collect was $306,138 for our requisitions for the school. The designated industrial property requisition is 48. And the Seniors Foundation requisition is $55,483. So in actuality, we had over collected 250 odd that $100. So we had to subtract that. So this is actually higher, but we can't over collect and keep extra money. So I had to take that over off of there, so the actual amount is $55,483. So that cleans up last year's stuff with this year's new tax. So whereas the assessed value of all property in the Summer Village of White Sands as shown on the assessment roll is, so our assessor, we have this clear, the total assessment for residential and farmland is actually $127,000
million.
million, thank you. $127,050,360. Okay, that's the actual number for 2023. Even though we had a subdivision that you guys approved, which consolidated a property, it will not be, it had to be kept within this number because it's at the end of December 31st, 2023, we had 404 properties.
It has to stay in.
So it has to stay in this assessment. So we've got this figured out now. So that's the actual real number. The dip in total effort, which is including your linear. So your linear assessment was $628,050. So your total assessment, combining it all, is $127,679,040. Okay, that's the actual total assessment, and we double checked this with the assessor. So, sorry, we've had a bit of confusion because of that one subdivision, so we had to make sure we got everything correct. So in your general municipal, with the 4% that you guys had approved, your residential and farmland tax levy in total, including your minimum amount tax of $850 comes to $470,507. And that's based on your 126,970,980 assessment. And the tax rate is 0.0031045. Okay. Your non-residential is your 628,050. And it's 3,895 you'll get from your 3 linear properties, which is considered non-res. So that tax rate is 0.06250. Your residential for your school foundation is based on your residential assessment with the farmland. So that amount that goes on to residential and farmland total is 303,975. And the tax rate for that is 0.0239. Your non-residential, which is your linear properties of your 628,050, gives you a tax levy of $2,163. Which is at a tax rate of ASFF 0.0034440. And the totals all match, so we're good there. The designated industrial properties, seniors foundation. So your designated industrial, which is your requisition in and out, that's $48 on that $628,050, which is at a very low rate of 4 zeros in front, 765. That's by the province. Your seniors foundation, based on the 55,483 requisition, well, it's a little higher, but we had to put that overage in there. Based on your 127,679,000 $40 assessment comes out to 0.0004346. Your minimum tax is $850. So your total collection that you are collecting in only municipal tax for the municipality was $474,402. Anything I need more to explain?
No,
This designated industrial property.
Yeah, it's 3 properties and that's done by the province and they provide us the assessments on all that. And then that becomes the only non-residential properties you guys tax.
Okay, so what are they?
Echo, Apex and Telus.
And Apex.
Apex.
Yeah,
Echo, Apex, Telus.
yes. So it's only the 3. That's your 3 linear, that's your 3 non. So your actual tax levy that you're collecting is 474,402. Per hour.
The
Or more trees, if you want.
We're looking to complete all 3 readings today, so we can get your tax notices out for May 21st.
okay, I'll make that motion to accept the tax rate bylaw as presented.
First reading?
all in favor?
First reading.
Okay, second reading, I'll make the second reading, all in favor?
Yes,
Unanimous.
Okay, so we need
Unanimous consent to proceed.
someone to make a,
I'll make the motion
Unanimous.
to consent to proceed to the 3rd reading.
all in favor?
Yes,
Third and final reading.
Third and final, yeah, I'll do that one.
Okay.
All in favor?
Yes,
Thank you. So the next one, we went into special tax
Yes.
bylaw, and we had done this in previous years, and then it disappeared about 6 years ago or so, or more.
Yeah.
So
And then,
what a special tax does is it can give you the municipality the authority to assign certain items to a special tax. But it's a very specific list in the Municipal Government Act. But the one that is on our taxes this year is the road agreement with the county. And so what it does, it puts it all across all the properties.
right, which housekeeping wise, you did do it last year, but it was in your tax rate bylaw, and that is not correct. So housekeeping wise now, this is why you're having two separate. They must be done at the same time, but that road use agreement that you did set up last year, but it was built into your tax rate bylaw, was not good housekeeping. So good housekeeping is it becomes its own special tax bylaw. Does the same thing as you did last year, but it's properly laid out in the housekeeping.
And on the, when folks get their tax bill, sometimes it doesn't specify what's in the special tax.
Yeah, and this one is.
And this one it does. But if we add things, like we used to have the water commission charge in on everybody's property. And you can do road dust control
Yes.
on everybody's property, that kind of thing. Next year, we can look at what's within the rules within the Municipal Government Act that you could put on there, because it's spelled out.
There are like 10 to 11 items that you can do into a special tax rate bylaw that you wouldn't have to do specifically in your whole tax rate bylaw budget. So it's allowing you a little bit of room here because you have some things that will be coming up, like a review of the fire agreement. Fire protection is allowed to be in a special tax bylaw. So you would not have to include it maybe in the budget portion of your tax rate. You could do it as a separate equal across all your property.
So basically what it does is take someone, let's say if you have an empty piece of property, they would pay the same as if they had a cabin or a house on the property for certain things that affect the whole village.
Do you have any questions on this part?
no, I think basically for now, I mean, we went on this. We put in the special tax to pay off the road use agreement because the sewer truck rates were getting, the sewer truck couldn't fill up or whatever, so that's why we did it. And you know, whatever we have to do in the future, we'll talk about it. I don't think we want to do it too often if we don't have to, but for now, I think this one's necessary because it's to keep the sewer truck rates down.
Right, and it's just putting it into that special tax category that wasn't there before.
So now you'll see that, and we did clarify this in the budgets, it's clarified as in it comes in, it goes out. It's not part of the numbers that you're collecting on your tax levy. So the portion of the county road use agreement, we hope, based on the agreement, we hope it's only 41,200. But we don't have an official notice yet. So we have calculated that on the 404 properties, it's $102.35 per parcel.
And that'll state it on your taxes.
Correct.
But if we put more stuff in the special tax, let's say next year or something, if that is a way council wants to go. They could probably be itemized.
Yes,
It was difficult before when we did it because it wasn't itemized and everybody kept on phoning the administration or councilors asking what is this special tax about? So if we can separate it, then that's what we should do.
and we can itemize any item like this now onto the tax rate with the program we have, so. If this will be a review in the fall, I would like to just sit down with council and do a review of options prior to the next budget season.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for now, we just need to get this passed.
Yes.
Or four motions again.
Okay, so we need a first motion, I'll do,
Okay.
all in favor,
Yes,
so we need a second.
I'll put us do a motion for the second reading of the special tax rate bylaw.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes,
Okay, so we need a unanimous
Agreement.
agreement to move to third reading.
I'll make the motion to move to third reading.
Okay, all in favor? And then we need a third reading.
Third and final.
Ed,
Ed,
Okay.
all in favor?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you guys, tax notices will be prepared and sent out for the 21st.
Alright.
Okay, so business, short-term rental. Survey feedback and we need to know where we're gonna go with this. The survey's been made public and it has been for a while, and we tabled this from the last meeting.
Last two meetings.
Two meetings.
So we have to make a decision. What are we gonna do here?
well, at this point, I'm still not kind of ready to ban them completely. I would be prepared to look at some kind of a licensing thing, but that would be as far as I'd be willing to go at this point in time, so.
Okay, I'm probably at a different opinion.
Yeah.
Would be to grandfather the ones we have and make rules for anything in the future, or just not have them. It's a growing thing across other municipalities. And I'm just worried about, I guess what I'm really worried about is it's really hard to take something away that is be allowed after it's done.
Yeah,
That's my.
Ed, your opinion?
I just sticking with my opinion, leave it alone. There's nothing broke here.
I guess we're all at different odds here, so I guess we just have
Yeah.
to take it as information right now.
You need a motion?
We'll have the votes recorded.
Yeah, okay.
Request.
Are you requesting?
Yeah.
So I guess I would motion that we just take the report on the survey report as information.
Okay, where it says request a recorded vote, right?
Yep. And then Mr. Huff
Okay,
is doing a motion.
to just take as information. Is that
Motion
what
to
you said?
accept it as information as presented. Would that sound about right, Bob?
Yeah,
Right. So take the short-term rentals.
So the short-term rentals as information as presented.
Yep.
Okay, and then, you need to vote on it now.
well, I'll agree on that.
So how many are in agreement?
Ed, are you,
What are we agreeing on?
that we're just taking the short-term rental agreement as that the survey will, we're just going to take it as information and do nothing else at this point in time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
All right, that's case. Yes. So it's both Ed and Bob that said yes.
Yep, and Lauren, you're next,
I'm not in favor.
not in favor.
Okay.
It's carried.
Okay, 7.2 municipal building site revision. So the engineers have come back. And the location has been looked into, putting it by the old shop and the new shop. And there's a map on the website of that. And what has been done there as well, there's two options of turning it or putting it the way it was staked in. When Ed and I went down there, just put some stakes in. The difference would be, you know, it's neither here nor there. Your proximity to the sewer tank, either position is not a big deal. I mean,
No.
digging a ditch, you can dig it another 10 feet or whatever. The
It's the codes that I'm more worried about making sure.
we don't know, or do we know already what IJD had to say about it?
We do, and I have a revised and new measurements.
You want that, yeah?
And I sent it back off to IJD. So. Yeah, is there anything in my email there?
I'm just looking, hold on. Yeah. Okay, that's the newest one, right?
Okay. Those distances work. So be required. For the two walls in question. Okay, so there will be a change in the building. Because according to this location, we've got distances all work. But the fire rating and non-combustible cladding will still be required. And Nelson Homes will need to be made aware of the requirements for the two walls in question. So we're gonna have a change of expense in the office. Outside.
Special fire.
So it's probably sided already.
I sent it off to Matt and he chose option B. I think that was for installation wise, but I'll have to get hold of him on that. To find out what the cost difference is for the cladding. The change to meet the fire code.
So they realize that so option B then is
The way you guys wanted it.
so they want it on the back wall as well?
They're gonna want it on both the walls that go near a building.
Do they realize that the new shop has it already?
Yeah. I sent him everything. So to me, it isn't gonna make a difference which one you guys choose. I just know that there is going to be a cost difference now. And I'll need approval on that.
Well, I think probably B would be the best one because it gives more room for to get by the sewer tank with the tractor if they gotta move things around back there. And access, I don't know.
I'm fine with whatever you guys decide, I just.
I agree with you,
yeah.
Lauren.
Ed, what do you think?
I don't care.
Okay, go to email that. Right now,
Send that off to Matt right away, right now. Well, I'm good, whatever you guys decide, I just need the approval for the change order.
The change order for the site location B, as well as whatever has to be done to bring it up to code.
Bring it up to code, yeah,
I think we have to do that.
Yeah.
okay, have you got,
oh boy, I'm trying to do, okay, going back to it. Back to it, so we're motioning what, we're choosing. Say B option.
yeah, option B, site option B. And then it was, what was your other point?
Up to code.
And approve, making sure it's brought up to code, approving the change order. Oh, just.
Okay, to approve the, okay, so. Motion to, or move by to choose site option B and approve the change order to make sure that the building is up to code.
Okay, I'll make that motion and, all in favor?
Yes,
Okay, and then now, we've got that. I would like to have a motion of council to approve a $40,000 site preparation and foundation budget.
For screw piles.
You betcha, I got the quotes, so I need a budget to finish.
Where's it coming?
And this is the rest of the site prep, including getting the lines, everything in.
Okay. I'll make that motion. You got all the companies organized and,
Well, the screw piles I do, which have come in quite well, actually. And a second, let me see everything now. Getting lost in my stuff.
can you,
Screw piles have come in roughly at. One quote I got without the GST is 11,250. And then I got a second quote in from another company at 16,790. So I pretty well know who I'm going with. I'm gonna go with the 11,000. I just gotta do some more checking and making sure that's pretty clear. The numbers are concrete, because I double checked on that. I just wanna make sure, is there any travel, fuel that I don't know about? So that's why I'm saying if you give me the budget of 40,000, that'll be site prep. The pilings, getting the contractors arranged for doing the power, the gas.
yeah, and I see on this drawing here, they've got the water coming from the tank, but actually it will come from the hall. Or
Exactly.
from the shop.
The shop, yes,
Yeah.
so I think it's going to, I don't think I'll have any issue, I'll probably be under the 40. But I would like 40 just to be able to get going.
Okay.
Does that include your septic tank?
MSI.
Okay.
Yeah, we go to the same septic tank, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not really putting in any new services, we're connecting to the existing.
Okay, where is site B anyway? I don't have any
it's-
drawings in front of me.
Okay,
It's the one we staked out, Ed.
but you guys staked out.
It's the one we staked out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm having
was-
a bitch of a time trying to hear stuff here that I'm going in and out of service here, so.
Okay. Option A was turned the opposite way and option B was turned the way you guys had presented it.
Okay,
And that's what you've approved.
okay, yeah, good.
And then there's to approve $40,000 from the MSI grant for site prep screw piles contractors for plumbing, gas and deck.
Yes,
Okay,
to finish all site prep,
to finish, okay,
to,
have a good, and contractors to finish on site prep.
I don't know how you call that, finish it to what? What do you call it when you put it all? I'm not,
Finish on,
Utilities and screw pilings, like,
the finish of connection utilities.
to finish all site prep to move in. Does that
To
sound
be
about
ready,
right?
to be ready for the building placement.
well, occupancy,
Occupancy,
Building placement and occupancy, how,
yeah.
okay. So Lauren said he was gonna put his name on it, so moved by Mayor Thurston to approve $40,000 from the MSI grant for site prep, screw piles, contractors
etc.
to finish all building placement and occupancy.
There,
All in favor?
Yes,
and we have it out of MSI, right?
Yes, I do.
Perfect, sorry. Okay, done.
Okay, stormwater.
Stormwater management plan.
we've already sort of approved that, haven't we? Like, this was just for information because Stephanie was
Yeah.
coming in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Well, no, you guys approved the draft. And you had a couple of clarity. So all this is now is your final report. This is the engineered stamp report. So with everything attached, so you're right. It's all the minor amendments and adjustments have been made, and this is the engineered stamp report.
Okay. That's good, and it is, I know it's, some contentious issues are going to be with this, report as well down the road when we decide to do things, but
Yeah,
it's what we have to do for drainage, and we all don't know what the weather's gonna do with the way it's screwed all over the world, you know?
that's right.
Like, it's an important thing, and it's a good document.
And this helps also for any of your subdivision or developers that come in. They need to blend with these plans.
Yeah.
I have plans, so. So yes, we want to accept it as
Approve and final or accept.
motion to approve and accept as information.
Yeah, on that.
Okay.
And I'll agree, I'll agree.
All in favor, yeah?
Yeah.
You know, just on a little bit of a comment where Goshen Sands Heights is. That was as hilly as our village, just about in the beginning. And because they wanted drainage and water and sewer in there and gravitational sewer. That was all stripped, if you guys can remember. It was leveled, actually. There was tons of hills in there.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're going about it a different way because we're stuck with what we got, which is nicer, in
Yes,
my opinion.
we're not looking to change, we're looking to adapt and make it better.
Okay, council reports. Eddie, did you have anything? Ed, anything for your report?
Me? Lauren?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
With the housing authority, the last meeting I went to, their vacancy rate last month for all three lodges was down to 34. And Paragon Place only had 2 left. So their next meeting is tomorrow night, so I'll find more out about on that. So things are
Ed,
looking
you-
really good.
Are you able to zoom into them meetings?
Pardon me?
Are you able to zoom into them meetings?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm on schedule there for tomorrow night, so.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
on another note, I noticed that, there's no parking signs been put up on Beach 8 on the corner. And that's been a continuation for the signage for that whole street. It's very, very dangerous because everybody's parking on the outside of that, around the outside edge, and somebody's gonna get run over, some small kid. That's why we built that parking lot, so that they can park in the parking lot. But people continue to park in that corner, but we don't have no parking signs up there. And I asked for them just about 2 months ago and they're still not up.
We've ordered the signs and yeah, we're just getting everything going, and in my report, yeah, we're working on all that stuff. Signs already, we did a big order of signs. We have lots of signs. But that is being installed, you're correct. We're trying to get everything organized as best we can, as quick as we can before the long weekend. And we're covering it up.
Signage won't be there by the long weekend.
Yeah, the signage is coming along, but we had to place a big order.
That's all I have, Lauren.
Hey, thank you.
I don't
Bob?
have anything.
Okay. All I had, well, the cardboard recycle, I see that they have one recycle container with the metal lid on it now.
That's what you asked for.
And that's a good thing. We had the one with the vinyl lid on it. And everybody just opened it up and left it open and put unsquished cardboard in there.
Okay,
So that's been rectified. I have a map of the village from 1961. The first survey, and the lot prices are all on it. It was found in a cabin on Lakeview Avenue, and Glennis Kent lent it to me to get copied. And I found a place that can do it in Calgary. It's a very difficult thing to do because it's so old. It's just like newspaper, so it can't go through a rolling machine. It has to be done on a flat scanner. And the only way to do it in Alberta that I could find, the scanner is just a small, like 24 by 18 or something. So they have to do a whole bunch and then put them together. And it would be a cost of about for the one copy, $100. And it would be valuable for history and could be displayed in the new office. It's really quite interesting.
What's on the map again, sorry, in this.
It's the first,
1961 village map, original map.
the original blueprint of the village. So it doesn't include the new subdivisions, of course, but it's mostly the old part of the village.
Okay,
But I think some of the lakefront ones were $1,500. And it had the name, actually, the name of Ernie Salt, the ones he had, and he was the developer. It's a real good piece of history.
Question,
Yeah.
because we don't have anything for decorating the office.
Do you want
But if
me to pick it up from you sometime, Lauren, and bring it back to Calgary?
I could, well, I'm going there Tuesday and I was gonna take it to this guy for proof. If not approved, I'll pay for it. I don't give a shit.
Well,
Really.
I'd happily pay for it too, so.
It's so valuable and it's gonna disappear. I know it's gonna disappear.
Regeneration.
I was just gonna say, could it be framed to be put up in the office or somehow framed so we can
Yeah.
have it as a memento thing in the office as part of our decor?
Yeah, I think that was the basic idea, and if I get it done, the first one done, then we can run copies of it.
Okay,
If anyone wants them, like what I did before one time was make that there and sold them. And that's old enough to pay for all the copies.
but I was just thinking on one of our walls coming into, when you first come into the building, we've got a wall there that might be a perfect thing to put there.
Yeah, and we can take it out to your $40,000.
Sure.
I can, as long as the only thing I'm worried about is I hesitate to leave it there for very long, so maybe Bob, I could get possibly you to pick it up when it's done.
Yeah, absolutely not a problem.
Okay. All right, so that's what I'll do. There has been, the Hall Society wasn't here today, but there was some, questioning and everything. That'll be done in June's meeting. And the, Front Street, Beach was asked about some maintenance down there. And Melissa clarified that we can't go in the water and pick stones, we can't do any of that. All we can do is harrow where the sand is. We have to leave I know the lake is lower, but we have to leave all that where it's at. We're not allowed in there. The convention we have that in our correspondence, don't we?
Yes.
Okay. The tree removal is getting to be quite a thing. I know that we had a contractor start it and then they left and we never paid them or anything. But there is still some sites out there that have trees that are in danger of falling on property, and the trees are on MR. I had 3 people this past 2 weeks come and ask me when it's going to get done, and I have no answer. But we've also attempted a contact with an outfit out of Delaware, and Melissa's working on that. There is some that have fallen or are leaning, and they're on MR. We could get in big trouble here, and I just don't know what to do about it.
We're working on it. At this point, as part of my report, you saw that Dustin has taken a reduced hour leave, but he's back on June 3rd, which he's probably gonna be back earlier. Depends on how much farming he gets done. But everything's still being worked on, and his still is the plan to get into there and do more. It's just, he's the supervisor and he's got the training for cutting it loose.
And there is some areas where possibly Dustin won't be able to do it. And you'll have to get a contractor.
Yeah, and we have that lined up already. As we were talking to those guys, they brought us a bunch of wood chips that we can use around the trees and stuff, so that was a real win for us. So, and on trails and stuff, so yeah, we're having conversations on that too.
It's a big outfit and it's called Bark Tree Services, I think.
Yeah,
Out of Delaware, if you wanted to look on the internet. Like, it's a big outfit.
we are already working collaboratively with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So meeting on the June meeting, we would like to change that to the Wednesday before, the 12th.
As well, okay,
And we need a motion to do that.
yep.
I would motion that we can move the meeting to the 12th of June.
Okay.
Does that work for you, Ed?
Will that be ongoing then every month or?
No, I
Just
I
this
have a
No,
conflict
it's-
of interest on the 19th.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I got no problem with that. I'm gonna have to zoom in again anyway, so.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, and we need to advertise that for the public,
Yes, oh, yeah, it'll be on the bottom of these minutes.
just the one that
Oh,
I
yeah.
moved, yeah.
Yeah. So we're
Okay.
moving the June meeting to June 12th. At 9:30 AM.
Yeah, so the June 19th meeting will move to the second Wednesday of June, which would be June 12th.
June 12th. Okay, so I have to move the June 19th, 2024 meeting to June 12th, 2024 meeting at 9:30 AM.
Yeah.
What's the name on it? Sorry.
Yeah, I will. I would like to have Melissa look into a waiver for me, so that for the workman's comp and the insurance or whatever, so I can have access to the old shop and the new shop. And I'll sign a waiver. I need it in there 3 times this past 10 days. And I didn't have any access, so I wanna see if I can work a way around it.
What was the access for?
Or if there's a situation where I have to go in. Let's say if the pump is running or something again and things like that. Not just to go in there for inspections or anything, but if I need to go in there, if the pump goes off at a function because of the pressure, then someone's gonna have to turn it back on. And when I went down there to poke a hole in the roof in the kitchen to drain the water from the leak, I had no access to any, like a ladder or,
So maybe
Any-
emergency troubleshooting, is that where?
yeah, but I would call Melissa or
Okay, I'll check into and figure out how we can, what's the workaround for any of this.
I mean, if it's impossible, it's impossible, but it
Yeah.
doesn't seem, we're not in a situation where the staff is there all the time when all these little things pop up. And I think it's,
If the pump goes off, it could spoil a function.
well, there's all sorts of things that could happen, you know. Like, I don't know, let's say if one of the staff went down in the shop and no one could get in there, but they had a cell phone calling somebody. I mean, there's all sorts of things that could be rectified.
I'll do some review on that and get back to you on that.
Okay, if it's not possible, it's not possible, but I'll tell you, I feel terrible. But had something that was serious. I did a webinar on Bill 20. And I'm sure you guys have heard about, well, Bill 18 to begin with of the province. So basically what that one is, that if the federal government gives us a grant, let's say if they gave us a grant for half of the new office, which they did with the existing hall and old shop, we got a provincial grant and a federal grant. Bill 18 that's proposed is going to say that the Alberta government can review that application, that money coming to the village for a shared federal provincial grant. And it's not looked upon very kindly by the municipalities in Alberta, both rural and urban.
So, I'm lost on this. This Bill 18 is because the grants you would have had for the hall and the shop, that would have been from the program where the province gave 40%, the feds gave 40%, but it was distributed by the province. Am I correct? So I think those are different than what they're
This
looking
is
at.
if, let's say if there's a school, yeah, or some kind of educational thing, or it could be hospital, them kind of grants that the feds put in there, the provincial wants to meddle with it.
So I think that's why we're getting the FOIP request for, I think it's the Canada Day grant.
Canada summer jobs.
Canada Summer Jobs, because those are coming directly from the feds. It's not being a shared portion. So that's the clarity, is if it's money coming directly from the feds, like our Canada Day grant, we applied directly and
Yeah,
we got funds. That's what they're looking at getting clarity on.
yeah. So that's Bill 18. Now, Bill 20, most of that's been in the news, but actually, they say it's not, the provincial government says it's already there, but it's been, what they can do, they can remove any councillor they want, any mayor they want. If we make a bylaw, they can take away that bylaw. That's how far reaching this thing goes. And Alberta municipalities, urban and rural, are deathly against this thing. And it just undermines elected officials' responsibility if we have that over our shoulders. And that's the biggest deal about it. I don't know. And who's gonna run for council if there's interference? Like, we're elected to run the municipality. And we have a code of conduct in order there, but for the provincial government to come in and just remove somebody, I think there's big trouble here. I don't know what they're gonna do about it, but anyway, it's very serious.
I mean, all you can really do is talk to your MLA about it at this point in time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, that's what everybody's gotta do.
Read this then. This email's probably lists this situation. What's that? Rest is later.
Oh, okay. This is a new thing. Okay, so the Summer Village of Roshan Sand had a council meeting last night. And they are they are making a motion to send a letter to the Premier in support of Alberta Muni's position to repeal Bill 20. I think Alberta Munis is doing that position quite well. That's your guys' call if you also want to do a letter. I don't see how that would be when you're already supporting Alberta Munis. And going to your MLAs is a wise choice. Because that's the legislature. This is something they did. Also, they are going to bring in some equipment to remove silt at the base of their boat launch. And the council has informally asked if Summer Village of White Sands would donate towards the boat launch. As they anticipate there will be an increased boat launch users from all around the lake using the Roshan Sands boat launch. And they're investigating to enlarge the parking area. So. This is brand new for me, bit short notice. I don't have any information other than what they just said.
I guess we would have to get some kind of a ballpark figure,
Yeah,
and they're gonna do it. And I'm surprised that they're able to actually proceed. So I don't know how far along they are.
I don't know enough about it. I'll investigate further
Yeah,
and
just-
bring you back numbers. To
Yeah,
the next meeting.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. Okay, and then there was a call for the 2024 municipal leaders caucus, and they're going around the province to 5 different municipalities. I would probably like to go, but it's all in person except the one on June 14th in St. Albert. And they'll do that through Zoom. So, and the cost is $55, but I think,
If you guys are okay, just do a motion to appoint Lauren to be able to do it.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah, I'm
motion
good.
to approve the funds for Lauren to attend these conferences.
The mayor's
yeah,
office.
it's just the one on the June 14th in St. Albert, and I'll just do it by Zoom.
Sure.
Wait, 2 seconds. Counselor,
Motion to approve
Yes.
mayor to attend.
And the agenda is basically
the mayor's office.
Municipal Leaders Caucus.
it would be water conservation, governance changes, infrastructure funding, and assessment model review. And I would think they may have some more about wildfires as well. Ed, you said you're getting inundated maybe this weekend with Fort McMurray?
Is you doing it via Zoom? Or is you going in person? Are you going in person or are you doing for the
Zoom.
for Zoom? Okay.
Ed, so you're gonna get a bunch of Fort McMurray people there with fire?
Yes, sounds like it, yeah.
Okay,
I see, as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, there's been about, I don't know, maybe 20 come by here so far.
Hmm.
okay.
It's
So
raining
that's
up here right now like crazy.
with.
All about time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, that's all I got. Melissa?
Hold on, we gotta approve the council reports,
I'll make that motion.
okay? As presented, sorry,
Yes, I agree.
okay,
Oh, I have one more thing I forgot.
Go for it.
So I got a hold of, there was a site in the village that had a RV on it, but no sewer tank. So I looked into what Bashaw Concrete has up there. So they have a holding tank that's 450 gallons, and they can put a flange and a outhouse, like a flange and a toilet seat, and then you just build the outhouse around it, as well as the RV can connect and go into the tank. And secondary to that, if they were to build a residence or a cabin, then they could put another tank beside it and retain that for the first compartment. So that's just for information, and that is the cost of $3,200 delivered. Because they have to make a special lid with the flange on it. And then if someone wanted a 1,000-gallon one, it would be $3,900 delivered with the flange. So that's just for information. But if someone's got an RV on the property and they take a permit to have it there, they have to have a concrete tank for sewer, and that's in our bylaw. So we have to enforce it. Okay, that's it then.
Okay, I provided you guys with a extensive CAO written report. I will add, that, yes, we received an RV permit. And upon further investigation, found out the property had no sewage, and we are now working with the property owner, and that is being rectified as we speak.
Permits been applied and.
Permit's been applied, and we provided and helped guidance with where to get everything, who to contact, and so we did it all yesterday.
Yeah, it was kind of odd.
No, I think we understand what happened, so we're good, we worked with them. So, yes. Otherwise, I have quite the listing of information. I don't know if anybody kind of has any certain questions. Do you want me to walk through everything, or are you okay with my report?
I think the written report's fine.
It's
Thank
good.
I think so.
Thank you.
It's really thorough, so
I wanted to keep you guys well informed. I hope I did that.
So we do accept the CAO reports as presented, who wants to do it?
yeah, there's just one little mistake, but I already mentioned it to her, and that was because she's got volleyball nets instead of tennis. But
Yes.
it's no big deal.
I was just trying to cover everything off I could.
I'll make that mistake.
I'll agree.
Thank you.
Moving forward, is that the type of report you guys are looking for, is more in depth?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so, because, and also, Melissa, the circulation of the agenda, you know, the public can hone in on it too, you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys see that we are doing stuff and we're trying to get everything accomplished as fast as we can, but it does take time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry I repeated some of that stuff.
That's okay.
Okay, and then we had the action list and we read that one.
Yeah, and there's only one ongoing, so
Yeah.
I'll work on that.
Okay, so financials. Gonna take us through.
Do you want to accept my reports?
Yes.
Yeah.
Made a motion for that.
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry, I missed it.
Lauren, yes.
Okay, so financials, we've given you your first copy to the end of April with your approved budget. Did find one slight little error and I fixed it, so just so you know, that at the bottom of the total expenses, the 985,695 is fixed to reflect exactly what's in your budget. Of the 8, 9, give me a minute, one of my numbers here. 985,195. I found the error was because we hadn't removed mediation out of planning, and that's what threw the budget off. So your budget is now totally in sync to the zero.
Okay.
And this kind of shows you where we're actually at. We haven't done the taxes yet, but we will on the 21st, and then that'll start reflecting in the new one.
And the taxes will go out next.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. We'll be massively busy on Tuesday.
So hopefully the
Printer
system will work and printer and who's doing all. Do you want to volunteer?
If you'd like to come in the morning, sure.
We can do it. We'll get it done. 800 some notices, we can stop.
That tax notice paper is nice because it has 2 perforated edges, so you. Yeah. people
Yeah, sorry, I'm not gonna be here.
Darn.
We'll be fine, guys. We'll get everything out on time, date stamped, and we're good.
Posted.
Yeah, it's only 800 and some notices that we have to stop. We're okay.
Okay,
Okay, and then your other report's pretty standard, just kind of shows the budget numbers, the variances and the 2024 actuals isn't listed in there yet, so we must not have updated that.
No, that's your capital.
Well, that's my capital, because I haven't gotten anywhere yet.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's another process. Just so you're aware, we're having conversation with the federal gas tax fund, which has got the new name. And we're trying to get clarity because they don't seem to allow us much options for claiming certain things. It has to be roads, it's pretty tight, so we're working with them to try and figure out how we can make it work better with our grants, and we may end up having to come back with the capital to bring a project forward. Just so we can meet it, because they're also saying we haven't did anything in quite a few years, and if we don't do something, then they're going to get funds.
Well, we got the first or the Front Street.
My thought is we may need to pull that forward and get the engineering done right away. If we can get all the engineering done, that would get us in sync to not lose any funds, but we're having discussions with them right now. Okay, your checklist. And then I attached your 2024 budget and your 3-year financial plan that you approved with the resolution numbers. And the capital plan that you also approved, which again, if we have to do some minor adjustments, we'll bring it back based on our discussion with the grants.
Okay, I just had a question on check. For, like, we're still paying for the electrical through the town, do you know how long that? I don't know.
I haven't been able to investigate that yet to figure out when we need to start looking at going through RMA and AUMA, or RMA and Alberta Munis. And they've got energy programs through them.
Right,
So at this point, I haven't been able to sit down and talk with Leanne. I'm thinking that's all gonna come. We'll talk with the town of Stettler, maybe do everything, including the fire when they pull us in
okay,
and make a full meeting.
yeah, cause if it just ends bang and we're not notified, then we gotta scramble.
I don't think the town of Stettler will let us completely end without a notification. Yeah, I think,
Depends on staff too, because their staff changeover is tremendous.
everybody's having huge changeovers. Yeah, but yeah, that's another one of the things I need to stay on top of. And then for the period to April 30th, your bank reconciliation. Erin, can you walk through this one? Because we've done a slight change.
What was it?
Which we hope you guys will be happy with us.
Oh, okay. I'll get there. All right, so. The main one would be that we go to the general district, like the subtotal and then less general distribution and all that. And before that, we had a GIC that matured. And it was the interest earned line, so 12,915.52, and that's also including our savings account that we started in April. So that interest earned is for both that 300,000 GIC and the $1,200 and some change that we earned for the savings account, because we stuck in 711,000 into the savings account. So we're just keeping,
So what we've done is
Yeah.
we've separated the operating checking account
yeah,
and we created a high interest savings account.
so we got our first interest of it at the end of April. So that's like the highlight there, because right now got interest earned that we can start recording. And then we reinvested that one GIC that matured for 180 days. It's good for until October.
Yeah.
Which is at the very bottom. Not quite the very bottom,
The investments there.
Yeah,
So we took
October
one of
30.
the other ones and we reinvested it.
yeah, for 4.96%. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's basically what Bob was after.
Yes,
For,
and it's an interest earned as for capital.
Yeah,
Yes, so we've got all organized and now we just have the checking as our operating funds. So as we start collecting things in, we're only gonna keep a certain amount in the checking and the rest will go into the savings, so it's earning interest at the same time. We want to make sure that our checking account only has enough for just operating.
And that's basically why the honorarium is monthly. And the expenses has to be done monthly too, and I'm trying to keep mine to a minimum. So that it goes through the office rather than just getting a big old bill for stuff that I buy, so.
Makes it easier on my end.
We're just trying to get more efficiencies and hopefully get better interest rates so that we can actually start collecting more revenue in different ways. That's what we're trying to do. So that's that. Any other questions? I hope everybody's happy with that.
Yeah, everybody. So can we do them all at once?
Yes, you very good.
Okay, so we need
I'll motion to accept the financial statements as presented.
Thank you.
all in favor? Thank you,
Excellent.
and thanks for doing that investment. Every penny counts and that. Now, the interest rate is at least up there some, not good for some people, but good for people that have them.
Well, and I hate to say it, but I think we're gonna have this for a while. So make use of it while we can.
Okay, so correspondence, the conference is in St. or Sherwood Park this year for the AS. For the Summer Village Association, and that's October the 17th and 18th, Thursday and Friday. Anybody wants to go, we should let Melissa know. So we can do the registration.
Yep.
It's fairly valuable for networking for sure. Melissa will be going and it's good.
You wanna do one counselor, two counselors, or all three?
I think it should be open to all three, whoever wants to go, in my opinion, because
Yeah.
it is, there's some good information there. Especially when you get the legal help and when the some MLAs show up as far as ministers. You get a feeling what their perspective is as well. So anyway, give it some thought. Approval letter for the Celebrate Canada.
So that money gets given to the Hall Society for the Canada Day functions or whatever?
Yes, so what we did is we notified them and let them know that we received the funds. And to please provide us a expenditure
Or receipts.
expenditure breakdown of how the funds are going to be spent so that we can release the funds. It's for tracking purposes in case the government comes and audits us, we need to have a tracking mechanism.
Okay, and then to go with that was another 2 pages that the government said nothing goes to. The
However
Russian
you want to interpret it, you guys.
or the- Anyway, that's kind of an odd letter, but it's there.
Yeah, we attached that came with it.
Okay, so our next item is a confusing RV permit. And it's for 12 Horseshoe Lane. And actually, it's confusing and the documentation, even the one receipt didn't have the actual number on it. And I've been on phone and Melissa's been on the phone and it's been ongoing. And there was a problem too when we forgave all the RV permits for in COVID time for that 1 year, which kind of mixed up. I don't think you can put blame on anything else, but it appears to me that the number 12 should have the permit and not number 10. It won't make any difference in the amount of units in the village. It'll be identical. It's just gone from one property to another, and they both, like, the original property was bought by the same people, so they're involved in both of them. The one cost. So to get that changed in our land use bylaw, we have to make a resolution.
Isn't it? Yeah, you gotta open it up and do a whole.
Yeah, but we're gonna be doing that, but we can recommend that now and put it, because the land use bylaw is needs some housekeeping done on it.
So how do you guys wanna do this one?
Well, first of all, are you guys in favor of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if there was, just some, how, just, a clerical error, I think we need to help these people out.
Okay, did you want us to bring you back everything with it?
No, I think we've had enough information. I mean, the letter is there.
I know for a fact it's more than just it's a clerical problem, but it's a mistake that the village made to begin with, because I know those people and I know when they bought the lot and I know who bought it, and it was clearly that number 10 was mixed up with number 12. So yeah, we got to change it.
Can we make a motion to temporarily allow this until we straighten out the land use bylaw?
Yes, I would like to see that, because these people are getting threatening letters that they're going to get fined, and they don't want to see that anymore.
So first thing would be, because we did send them out a notice. So are you going to do a motion to? Oh, I'm trying to think how it is. We followed the land use bylaw as it was. So
What we could do before we get into the, Leanne hasn't quite been into, she is extremely new to her job right now, so she really hasn't got into the land use bylaw, that the items that have to be cleaned up for housekeeping in there, and there is some items in there that need to be corrected. But what we could do is
how about if you motion to waive the fee? Not the fee, but the penalties.
The penalty, because are you creating precedent, because you motioned for the land use bylaw for that other people with 2 properties?
Councils, yeah, I don't know, I don't wanna set precedent, or you guys.
well, we're not changing the amount
Okay,
of anything, we're
No.
just changing the address.
But you had that with someone else, the
Now,
delegation,
they wanted 2 more.
they wanted it switched,
and they wanted it switched also.
yeah.
They wanted 2 more on both.
And do you remember that other one that came in? Did they want 2 and 2, or did they just want them switched?
They were wanting them both grandfathered in, 10 and 12.
Okay,
No.
No.
No,
That was not 10 and 12, that was across the street.
15 and 17.
15 and 17, okay.
Oh, 15, okay, yeah, no.
Just said no to them, so I'm just.
But that would have changed From,
go back in the stuff, but I
I
thought
would have
they
changed our
wanted.
numbers,
yeah, and we're not changing numbers here.
but we need to
Just
sort of say that we're gonna allow the two RVs on number 10, but not on 12, right?
No, number
Yeah.
10, number 12 is the one that they want the two RVs on.
Oh, okay, so yeah, so we want to put 2 on 12. Change it from to allow the two RVs on 12 rather than 10.
That's correct.
So you need to make it clear in your resolution. And that you are, your reason why. And then go from there. I think as long as you guys put it clear, we'll back it up with what you say.
It's kind of like a variance. It's, unless if, like, you could go through MPC. Would that be anything that we could fix it?
Not what I understood from Leanne.
Yeah, I'd have to check with Leanne on that. That's a tough one. You're asking me a tough question. I can't verify it for sure. I don't know if that could, it is a variance to the bylaw. So it,
Fast.
yeah, it could be. So what? Right now, we are at
We'll make a motion that we wanna get it done. And how we proceed with it, we'll leave up to administration to,
You can still make a motion to allow it for right now until, and then.
change it in the land
well,
use
go through the
bylaw.
process of land
The
use.
address in the land use bylaw when we go into the land use bylaw.
so
And in,
let's
and in the,
do,
and in the meantime, stop sending letters to them.
Yeah, well, that would stop anyway yet, because we're in the process of doing 12 instead of 10.
okay, so let's do
One step at a time.
one step at a time. So you want to do the motion to allow lots. Which one is the one that, lot 10 to have two?
No,
And
lot
not-
12, lot 12 to have two.
It's gonna go in the land use bylaw to make sure.
Okay,
That's where the two were for the very beginning.
The lot 12 is the number one right beside Stan and Tish.
Yeah,
That's the one that
Okay.
they want.
So 12, you have to switch 10 off, like allow 12 to have two
two,
and 10 to have one.
right.
okay, so
right now.
motion to allow the property owner of lot 10 and lot 12, whatever the address,
For sure.
Horseshoe Lane.
And
To reverse. Put two RVs
Well-
onto, like, how are you gonna, you word it and then re-say it to these guys so we can make sure it's clear.
And just for more backup information on that, I got a hold of Stan and Tish Holiday, and they said it's always had the two on it since they were there. Since they bought the property, so. And you know what, it could also be because there is no address signs on the properties yet either, you know, and it was difficult for the inspection person as well, like there's just so many variables
Okay,
there.
so do you
I
have,
wanna read it first to make sure it makes sense.
okay, and then the council has to put their reason in there. Short and sweet.
think I have it where it makes sense. It's get the reason after, hold on. To move by whoever to allow the property owners of 10 and 12 Horseshoe Lane to allow 2 RVs on the property of 12 Horseshoe Lane and 1 RV for 10 Horseshoe Lane.
Okay,
That's the
and
reason.
what's your reason?
Because of an error in address.
Because of a possible error in addressing. Which will be reviewed in the land use bylaw.
NPC. I don't,
They were reviewed by the development officer, maybe.
And to forward for review by the development officer. Like that, much better.
Error, this and that. To be reviewed. Alright. For the reason of a possible error of addressing that will be forwarded to. Before to be reviewed by the development officer.
To be reviewed by the development officer. As part of land use bylaw amendments or cleanup.
yeah,
That should be nice and concise, right there.
Or the land use bylaw amendments.
Well, amendments or cleanup.
And go paper / cleanup.
Yeah.
Okay. Wanna read it all out again, or?
no, I think
No,
we're okay.
okay.
I think we're fine. Who's gonna
Who
make
wants
the
to
motion? Do
make
you want
one?
me to make that motion? Or Lauren?
Yeah, I will, like, I've been. Kind of involved with this thing and I do really feel bad.
Okay. You mean
Well, I'm in favor.
Ed?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just send a letter up to them advising them that, and then it's just, they still pay their fee amounts, but we won't be sending any more letters. They'll get the one letter stating
This is what council's motion
motion,
for now.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
it should
we
be
have-
sent a letter, so.
for now.
For now. So we're gonna allow this for now until,
For 2024,
okay.
maybe you should have put the year in there. We just gotta do our cleanup and
Okay.
stuff.
To allow property owners. To allow for 2024, and just cause it to allow for 2024, the property owners of lots 10 and 12 Horseshoe Lane. To allow 2 RVs on property for 12 Horseshoe Lane and 1 RV for 10 Horseshoe Lane.
Yeah, and
That's
then we
fine.
still have to do our cleanup, it's
Yeah.
just, this way, we gotta work on stuff.
Okay, so now we have the Summer Village White Sands grant allocation all summarized on that sheet there. And I think did the accountant apply to that?
Yes.
Okay,
So this is what we're working on is the CCBF, what we're working on right now.
so this was as of January 18th, 2024, so it gives us the ones that have not been paid to us.
These are the ones we're having our discussions about.
Yeah, and then also. At the bottom there, the MSI
I'm getting there.
capital and the operational. It's, the operational is supposed to be not paid as well, right? That 18,000. Because they left it out, I didn't understand.
Neither do I, I'll have to do some more checking on that. They didn't put anything saying it was paid, so I'm not too sure what that's about. That could have been back in, I think there was an extra MSI that was sent out during COVID. But I can't remember. But I know we've spent all of our MSI operating. We use it every time.
Yeah, and that's why I don't. And they shouldn't be calling it MSI if it's this year, right?
Well, this is operating, so yeah, I don't know why that. Yeah, not sure. I'll do more checking on that, but I was more concerned, we are now working on the CCBFs. To figure out how to make that one work.
Okay,
Okay.
so you can keep us posted on that.
You betcha.
Okay, the caucus leaders thing, we did that one.
Yeah,
And the MPC is when you granted that variance on, First Street for these,
yeah,
for the cabin. That
Yeah.
was, yeah,
yeah,
well, that was our MPC meeting, just there.
yeah.
Okay, so that's all there is. And
Correspondence, the rest is correspondence.
need a motion to accept the correspondence, please.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Yes,
Our last item is in camera.
Yeah, so we're going to go, you guys have to switch over to the Microsoft Teams. I sent the link yesterday, please.
And then we are
Okay,
done.
Yeah,
I'm leaving the situation. I've got other things to do here, so.
Okay. So
okay, I'll
you
go
are-
on to Teams here.
Okay, so Counselor Ed is withdrawing from,
okay,
left the meeting.
and then we need to make a motion to go to camera.
Yes,
Okay,
Hold on, I gotta say.
everybody left.
We could have said,
I
I
have to go to the washroom
Okay.
anyway. Do what you gotta do. Put motion to go in camera after I get back.
okay,
Somebody will have to do that.
where is it, Laura says, tell us to go on camera.
and do what you want, you're gonna end, but you're like my wife.
At 12:30, yeah, okay. I am.
You don't feel
Okay,
Bob,
Hold on.
Okay,
Hi.
again,
We're
just gonna start everything. Okay,
Alright, so we went into in camera at 12:30. It was motioned by Mayor Thurston, so now we're coming out of camera. Who's making that motion?
I'll motion to come out of camera.
At 12:52.
yes,
okay, all in favor, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion for adjournment.
let's clearly define this. Motion to accept the correspondence that was submitted under the code of conduct bylaw.
Okay, hold on. Motion moved by to accept, no, is that
Accept the correspondence submitted under the code of conduct bylaw. Dated April 22nd, 2024.
what day, sorry?
April 22nd, 2024,
24, okay,
as presented,
okay.
and. What was that wording I had said, Bob? And that it does not relate to the code of conduct bylaw and to leave it with the RCMP case file. Incident number
The alleged,
202.
the alleged incident.
The alleged incident.
Hold on, and it doesn't relate to the code of conduct. Yeah, speak slower for my fingers.
Code of conduct bylaw.
What's bylaw?
It does not fit within the code of conduct bylaw.
Is it not relate?
Fit.
It's not. Fit with the code of conduct bylaw
191-22
22.
and should. And the alleged incident should stay with the RCMP case file number 20244. Zero, two, four, four,
Okay,
9, 4,
okay,
8, 5, 3.
okay. Okay, moved by a counselor. To set the correspondence information under the code of conduct bylaw dated April 22nd, 2024 as presented, and it does not fit to the code of conduct bylaw 191-22.
Okay, pull out that whole section and just leave that out, because we've already referenced that it went to the code of conduct bylaw.
So
And
we want to make sure the alleged incident, right?
Yes, I got stopped before rather, so you're not, so that it does not fit, we're taking that whole part
I'll
out.
take that out.
Okay, as presented, an alleged incident should stay with the RCMP file number 20244948553.
Yes. Does that make sense? We took it in, as information under the code of conduct bylaw, but you're leaving it as the alleged incident with the RCMP.
Yes.
Okay, who's making that motion?
Yeah.
I'll motion that.
Okay,
All in favor?
Yes.
okay, adjournment, who wants to make the motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjournment, I'll do that one.
Okay.
You get the fun ones, Laura. Okay, Alrighty. see you guys later.
You bet, have a good weekend.
Bye, Bob.
Bye. Okay, that feels better, we've now documented that.
We're not out of it yet.
We're done.